All right, so welcome back to Developer Coding. So in today's video, we're going to upgrade our next Firebase boilerplate. So there's three things that we're going to do in this video. The first one is we're going to upgrade our Firebase from version 8 to version 9, which is the latest versions of Firebase. And then we're going to do the default layout. So which is when you refresh the page, you can see the layouts are still there. I'm going to explain more when we get into this part. And the last thing is we're going to do is to save the user to Firestore. And that is the three things that we're going to do. All right, so first we're going to do this one. So to upgrade your Firebase from version 8 to version 9, since we're using yarn right here, you can do yarn add again. So you can do yarn add Firebase. So first it's going to add a new word. Then it's going to add the new Firebase latest version for you. So once you do this one, and it will upgrade for you. I think that's pretty much it for this one. So once you do that, when you run a project, you will get this error right here. And also, if you would like to read the documentation, I left the link in the description as well to Firebase, and they explain you, okay, what is the version, and 9 and version 8 will do differently. So please feel free to go ahead and check out the documentation. Okay, so right now you can see right here we have this error right here. So we're gonna solve this one. So because the way that the version 9 and the version 8 behave differently, so we're gonna change a lot of things. So the first one is gonna be the get the apps right here. So we're not gonna do the Firebase right here. We're gonna do, okay, from Firebase app we can get a bunch of things. So this one get apps. This get app is get the Firebase app is return as an array, and also the initialize apps, which is this one. So what we can do is I'm gonna change from get apps right here, just get apps, and then for initialize we can just do the initialize, and for the analytic is gonna be behave differently. So we're gonna import from analytic from this one we're gonna get analytics. And then we can just call get analytic right here. And I think that's pretty much it. So I think if we go back, okay, so right now, as you can see, we have a different error. So for this error right here, it's because of the way we use the Firebase auth. It's different from the version 8 to version 9. So we're gonna change this one as well. So because it is on the state chain right here, so for now I'm gonna comment this one, so we don't have this kind of error. Let's refresh. Okay, so right now we have this loading right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this one to set to true or set to false. Okay. Voila. So right now everything we can see this one, but we are not logged in. So if we go back, oops, not this one. Let's say if we go back into our admin page, let's say if I click on login, so this one, as you can see, we the way that we log in is it's not correct as well. So for that, we're gonna change the inside the auth service right here. We're gonna update everything from here. So first, I'm gonna comment everything from here. So the way that we do this one is a little bit different, and then. All right, so let's do that. So instead of this one, we have export as an object of the auth service. I'm gonna create a class for this one instead. So I'm gonna create a class called auth service. That inside this class, what we're gonna have is a function that we're gonna have. So let's say we're gonna do a function login with Google as a function. So you can see right here. Oops. All right. So right now we have this function. So for this function, as you can see right here, we just call sign in with pop-up and something like that. So the way that we do with sign in with pop-up right now, we can just do sign in with pop-up. So this is going to auto import for you. Or maybe you can just do something like this. All right. So just Firebase, sign in with pop-ups. And then, so when inside here, there's two property that we need is the first one is going to be, I'm going to close this one, the auth. So where do we find this auth right here? So the auth right here is going to be, we're going to call a function called get auth. Okay. So with this function get auth right here, it's going to need the Firebase apps. So the Firebase apps, where do we get this one? So a similar thing for this one, we can get the app from using the Firebase app right here. So go on top right here, I'm gonna import, let's say here, from Firebase / apps, and then I'm gonna call get apps. And then for get auth right here, we're gonna use this one for multiple functions. So let's say if you want to do logout, so you may need the get auth right here inside this one as well, the auth. So for that, we're gonna save this one as a constructor and save this, use it. So what I'm gonna do is, okay, I'm gonna do constructor for this one. That we're gonna pass the Firebase apps. And then for this .auth is going to be equal to get auth of the Firebase apps right here. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So, all right, so right now we can use this auth right here, this .auth new Google Google auth provider. So for this one, we can import from the auth as well. So Google auth provider, and then don't forget the new keyword. And voila. So right now we can do sign in with pop-ups. And then let's see what do we return from here. So after we log in, so we're gonna return from this one. Okay. So what we can do .dent. It's gonna be a user credential. So you can see we have the value of user cred. So I'm gonna do user cred. And then we're gonna return the function of the user with the user cred dot user. And then if we have an error, we can just do catch an error, and then we can just return error dot message. Okay, very nice. So right now we done with our login with Google, and the next one is gonna be just the logout. So let's do this one. So I'm going to do logout. And then we can do just sign out. So sign out right here is going to be a function that's going to be the structure from our apps right here. So we can do the sign out. There we go. And then we can call this one await. So since we're using await, we need to use an async as well. Sign out. And then we're going to pass this .auth as well. So all right, so I think that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna erase this one. So the way that we export this one is gonna be export default new auth service. And then we're gonna have as a class. So then we're gonna, because this one has constructor that need the Firebase app, so we can just call get apps right here. Voila. So right now, we have this one already. So, but our on-state chain right here, it's gonna behave differently. So instead of we call the Firebase from here, we're gonna create a new function inside our class also as well. So for this one, I'm gonna call this one wait for user. So because we're gonna wait and check for user, and this one is gonna be a callback, and that's gonna return the auth. I think we can do this one auth on state chains. I think auth state chain, yes. On return auth on state chains, and this one is going to be need the auth as well, and then it's going to return the user credential. Basically this is going to be user cred, and then we're going to call back the user with the user cred right here. So all right, so this is pretty much it. And all right, let's use this one inside our applications. So go back inside here. I'm going to update this one right here. So I'm going to remove these three things on top. So I'm going to import the auth service. So I'm going to use the auth service right here. It's going to be auto import for me dot wait for user, and it's going to be a callback. So we're going to have a user cred, and then for the user cred right here, we're gonna do the same things. Is, let's see, I think we going from last time, we're gonna set the user. I'm gonna set the user with the user cred right here. Okay. So right now, if we go back in here, if I try to refresh, everything is fine. for our login, so we need to go into our hooks, and then inside here, as you can see, we instead of import like this, we can go import also is, and I think everything has behaved for different. It behaved the same things. All right, so for now, let's try to do it. So I'm gonna do login with Google, so you can see there's no more error. And then I'm gonna choose this account. Okay, and then it's gonna redirect me back. Very nice. So let's see. Let's actually go to admin page. So you can see right now I'm at the admin page. So everything is working fine. Even if I refresh, so it means that our auth state change here is working fine. So right now it's gonna be a little bit hard for us to check this one. So I'm gonna update this one a little bit. So let's go into the page of the index right here. I'm gonna remove everything from here. So, and then we're gonna do, okay. So as a link. So we're gonna do links to ref. I think we're gonna need to import this one, link from next/link. And then I'm gonna, since we use this one, we can remove link. So this one is gonna be ref to slash, let's say admin, and let's say admin, and the other one is going to be the login, right? So we're gonna do login back. So right now, if we're refreshing this one, it's a little bit hard to see, but yeah. So right now, if I click log admin, it's gonna go here, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If we go to login, we cannot be able to do it because we're already logged in. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for our upgrade. So let's do this one. So the next thing is we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the default layout. So let's imagine that this one. So you can see when every time that I refresh in this one, I remove everything. So let's say inside our index right here, I'm gonna have the navbar. I'm gonna do navbar. So let's say I'm gonna do the H1. This is navbar. Something like this. Okay. So what I wanted to do is that, okay, I'll every time that I refresh, maybe I want to keep the navbar. I don't want to, let's say, remove everything. So as you can see, when I refresh, everything is removed and then it's pop up at the same time. So I want to keep, because this one is static, I want to keep it there, but the content below it can be loading. So that's what we're going to do in this video and in the next part. All right, so see you guys in the next part. All right, so from this part, what we're going to do is we're going to set the default layout. So as you can see right here, when I refresh this one, I want to keep the navbar stay, and the content right here, maybe we do some loading, right? So to do that, what we're gonna do is to find out why this one we have this loading. So if we go to the page right here, and then we can see that everything is gonna wrap with the auth state change, right? And if we look at our auth state change, we can see that this one is the loading is come from here. So it means that every page when we refresh or we go do anything, it's gonna run that one. It's gonna do the loading. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a layout that wraps around this one, wrap around this auth state chain, and that's pretty much it. So we can create a layout right here. I'm gonna call this one apps layout, layout.js. Do OFC, and then the prop of this one is gonna be a children's. And let's say this one, I'm gonna do this as a main, and then you can do your navigation right here, and then we can have children inside. Okay, so the nav right here, let's say I'm gonna do span. So this is the false layout, and then I'm gonna do a style a little bit. I'm gonna do inline here. So for the styling, I'm not gonna focus too much. Let's say I'm gonna do blue, and then for the color, it's gonna be white, everything inside. And then let's have some patterns inside a little bit. So pattern is gonna be 10 pixels, okay? So right now we have the app layout. We're gonna use this one to wrap around here. We're gonna do apps.layout. So it's gonna auto import for me. If you can see. So right now, as we can see, we have, this is a default layout, and I'm gonna go into the index. I'm gonna remove this one. Let's say if I try to refresh, you can see right here, the default layout is static, it's stay there, and the content below it, it's gonna do some loading. So it's good behavior. Let's say the same as YouTube right here, you can see the search bar right here. It's gonna go there, but the content is maybe changed. So let's say if I refresh this one, you can see that the now bar right here, it stay there, right? But what if, let's say, what if you want to have a data, let's say the now bar may have the username and something like that on the now bar. So what you could do is you go back and apps right here, you can see that we put everything, the apps layout right here is under the auth provider. So it means that inside the auth layout, we can use the auth hooks. So I'm gonna do auth equal to use auth. And then from auth right here, we can access the information such as what everything from auth have. So you can do like the lockout function right here, or you can do, let's say, yeah, let's do it. So I'm gonna create a function called lockout, a button lockout, or maybe let's display the username instead. So let's do the username. So I think it's gonna be auth. User dot display name. So this one, sometimes it's gonna take a while. So if you go now, it's gonna, if you refresh this one, sometimes it's got an error. The reason that we got an error is right here, because this one is gonna, at first the user is gonna be null. Whenever we finish the auth state change, we can update this one, right? As you can see right here, because this one under use effects. So to do this, we need to have a null exception. We can just do the question mark right over here. And this is gonna solve a problem. And then for this one, we can just do display this one as flex and then justify content. And then we're gonna do space between. Okay. So right now you can see we space between this content right here. And yeah. So if we refresh, so this content is may not come immediately. So you have, if you have like an icon of a user, you maybe store this one in a local storage, and then yeah, you could do something like that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this one. So let's say you may ask, okay, so right now the default layout is everywhere. So what if I want to, okay, at some page, I want to have this layout, and at some other page, I don't want to have this layout. So for this, it's going to be a really simple things to do. So what you could do is, okay, you could do an if else, or you could do if else statement. Let's say, okay, I'm in the route right here, I don't want to have this one. So let's say we can use router. So this one is just, I'm going to show you if you want to do that, but in my case, I'm not going to do this one. So I'm going to do if router dot pass name. So let's say pass name right here, I'm going to do equal to, let's say, login. So if it's not equal to login, so we're going to, let's say we're going to render this one. Okay. But this one is gonna load an error, so else we're gonna just return the children. So we can just return the children right here, but it may be failed, so it's not, we just return something like here. Okay, so you can see right here, when I'm at the login page, I don't have this layout, but when I'm at the admin page or the page somewhere else, we may have this layout, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Or you could do another one is that, okay, let's say you have a different layout for different page, you can create a component for it that behaves differently and different styles. And you can do something like this. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this one. That's how you do the default layout. So it's gonna stay there even if you refresh your page. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for this part. So let's go into our README. Let's see what's we gonna do next. Okay, so next on the next part, we're gonna save the user to the Firestore. I think that's pretty much it for this video. So for this part, so see you guys in the next part. Peace.